After Party Nation. How is everybody doing? It's September 1st and we survived Hurricane Ida. I just want to jump on here and talk to you guys for a few minutes. You can see I'm sitting back outside. We did have to move everything. You know, that's what happens when you live here on the coast. We are hurricane veterans down here. We survived Katrina. And the thing about Katrina was it was just as powerful as Ida, but the difference was Katrina was larger and it sat here on top of us like forever. And Ida was really small and really tight, and it came in and it moved on through. So I'm grateful for that, because really for us here in Ocean Springs, Ida was more of just a nuisance than anything. We had to pull in plants, we had to take down the umbrellas, we had to take down all this stuff. You know, we had to hunker down, as the weather people say, for a few days. And I really didn't take into consideration the effects that a hurricane of that magnitude would actually have on my kids. Because when we went through Katrina, my daughter was 4 and my son was 8. And I didn't realize the amount of PTSD that they would have. My son especially, he just almost freaked out because he and his girlfriend just bought a house. They were planning on getting married. They just got like career-making jobs. They just graduated from college. And they've got all these great things going on, and now we're gonna have a potentially catastrophic hurricane. And yeah, it really affected him mentally. My daughter, she was a little bit younger. She was only 4, but still, it freaked her out as well, because the memories that they have of Katrina are kids' memories, and they're much different than ours. So, you know, it's just kind of things that you don't think about. And when Katrina hit, Jean and I were both journalists, and during the aftermath, because there was a lot of aftermath, and we went for at least 2 weeks with no power. You couldn't even find ice. If you found gas, it was like you hit the jackpot. It was just an awful time. You just couldn't find just anything necessary that you needed. And you know, I was still trying to work. And one of the stories that we ended up doing was how the aftermath of Katrina was affecting the hospitals, which was really kind of interesting, because, you know, a lot of it was the typical stuff that you would think about. There were a bunch of snake bites, because there was standing water everywhere. So, you know, water moccasins had free reign to go wherever they wanted. Little tiny alligator bites, stuff like that. There were strokes, heart attacks, women in labor. There was the typical things like that. But one thing that I didn't really think about at the time, because I was not an alcoholic at the time, I was on my way. Looking back now, I can see the pattern I was taking and the path I was going down, but I wasn't an actual alcoholic at the time. But one of the things that one of the doctors told us was that they were getting a lot of people in withdrawals, because the joke, you know, for a hurricane is you got to get all the necessities, and that includes liquor or your dope or whatever. And you think of not even being able to find something as simple as gasoline or ice. You can't find alcohol when the liquor stores are destroyed, and unless you've got a really good dope connection, you're gonna have a hard time finding that, because there was no cell phone service whatsoever. Of course, now this was 16 years ago, so things have changed, but at the same time, if all the towers are gone, you don't have cell phone service, and the towers were gone. And I can remember we did so many stories about people on the high-rise bridge in Pascagoula holding their cell phones up, trying to get reception and stuff. And I was like, yeah, you're not going to get reception. You're just wasting your time, because there's no towers to give you reception. And that's one thing that you don't really think about with a hurricane of that magnitude, is people being slammed into withdrawals. And that's one thing that the physician told us, was that they were overrun with people going through either alcohol or drug withdrawals. And unfortunately, that's what leads to like a lot of the looting, because people get strung out, they get desperate, and they're going and they're breaking into their neighbors' houses looking for prescription drugs, looking for alcohol, looking for anything that they can find that will help them. Because you can't just pick up the phone and call your dope dealer and say, hey, I need a fix. Because who's to say he's even still alive? So my point is, New Orleans right now is completely without power. Lots of South Louisiana is the same way. And there's about to be a lot of people that are going to be like we were in Katrina and thrown into withdrawals because there's nothing. If you go and look at some of the video and stuff, it's flattened. And what's going to make it worse is that those hospitals are overrun with COVID patients. And just on a good day, on a bright, pretty sunny day like what you see right now, going to the hospital in some kind of distress from alcohol or drugs, you're looked at like, can't you just stop? Don't you know that you're hurting everybody and you're taking up a bed that, you know, somebody might need? You're not in labor, you're not having a heart attack, you're not having a stroke, you haven't broken any bones. All you are is an addict. And that's on a good day. Addicts are looked at like that. I can't even begin to imagine what it's like with COVID right now. And then you're going to throw a hurricane, a catastrophic hurricane on top of that. Those are the people that are suffering right now. We had an inconvenience. We never even lost power. We didn't even lose internet. It got a little sketchy there for a little while. And, you know, the internet would spin a little bit. But we never lost anything. The power flickered a few times, but it never actually went off. It just click, click. So we were inconvenienced, and Louisiana is about to just be thrown into something that we've never actually seen before. Because Katrina was catastrophic, but we didn't have COVID. And now you're going to throw COVID in the middle of something as bad as that. So pray for Louisiana and pray for everybody who's been affected by it. I saw a news report last night, and it was an old guy. I think he was 72, and his house was falling apart. The roof had been ripped off. One of the walls was gone. And the news reporter was like, you know, why are you still staying here? He was like, well, I'm sleeping in my bedroom. Even though the walls are gone, I can still sleep here. And she's like, why don't you go to a shelter? And he's like, oh, I don't want to get COVID. And I was like, translation there? He has dope, and he can't take dope to a shelter. He doesn't want to be without his dope, and he's afraid if he leaves his dope, somebody's going to steal it. And that's a really bad place to be in right now. It's really sad. So pray for Louisiana. And, I mean, we have a saying here in the South that when a hurricane kind of sets its eyes on you, we don't try to pray for it to go hit somebody else, because whoever it does hit, we know it's going to be catastrophic. So just pray for Louisiana, because they need it right now. Anyway, I hope you have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.